The first 2 days that I played Escape from Tarkov, I honestly wondered if I had wasted my 45 American dollars just to get into the beta. By the third day, guys, everything changed. So if you are new or thinking about getting Escape from Tarkov, I'm gonna walk you through my first game, but it's not my first game ever that I played. It's the first game that I actually felt like I knew what I was doing. And it took many hours for me able to get to this point. I played 2 days prior. I played probably 4 to 5 hours each day. And I'm still very clueless, but I now have a basic understanding of my goal and how to achieve that goal. So yeah, guys, I'm definitely a beginner in this game. I'm not going to give like any crazy tips or anything. I'm just going to show you my initial experience and how I really started to become addicted to the game and really love it. I'm also a noob PC player, guys. I haven't played PC games since I was like 16, and that was a long time ago. So bear with me with the mouse and keyboard skills as well. Let's get right into it. So on this screen, guys, on the right side is my stash. These are all the items and gear that I have obtained and I put away. They're safe. I cannot lose them if I die. Now, the left side of the screen is my actual character, what I will bring into the mission with me. If I die in PMC mode, I will lose all of this, except that little backpack that you see on the bottom middle. The 4 items that are inside that you will not lose. You have like a safe stash, but you're only given 4 slots in the beginning, so you want to use it wisely. Everything else, like my gun, my pistol, my tac rig, my magazines, I will lose all of that if I die. So when you're ready to play, you can choose between PMC and Scav mode. PMC is your main character's mode. This is the mode that you will be playing the most. This is the mode where you level up your character and all of your loot is stored. If you choose Scav mode, you basically become an NPC for that mission. The cool thing is that when you go in, you're just given randomized new loot for free, and if you die, you lose that loot, but you didn't lose anything because you didn't come in with anything. So you can play Scav mode more aggressively, and if you are able to gather a lot of loot while playing as a Scav, and if you do extract from the map successfully, you get to keep all of that loot and bring it over to your main character. Now the catch with Scav mode though is that it's on a cooldown. You can't continuously play it and not have anything to worry about. You can only play it like every 20 minutes or so. So mostly you're going to be playing the PMC mode, which is your main character, where when you die, you lose your loot that you have on your character. So when you first spawn into the map, guys, you spawn in at a random spot. You want to make sure that you have your bearings, you want to make sure that your weapon's set, you're in the right burst fire mode, that you have your heals, etc. And then you really want to figure out where you are on the map. This is the first thing that you will do, is figure out where you are so you can set your goals. They don't give you a good map in this game. The one that you get is really not that good. So what you want to do is bring it up on Google on a laptop or on your phone so you can reference the map that you're playing. I'm playing on Customs right now, which is the main map that you will choose in the beginning. Now, I've played the map enough to know where I'm at. I've noticed things around me like the train and then the river right here, and I know that I am in this area of the map. So the first objective is complete. I figured out where I am. So now that I know where I'm at, I'm doing a quick sweep of the area to make sure that there's no NPC or enemy players in my immediate surroundings. Once I know that I'm safe for the moment, you got to make sure that you hide when you're looking at things in your inventory, looking at your map. Make sure to lay down. So we're going to lay down right here and see where our extraction points are. So the extraction point in this game is when you get your loot or you're ready to leave, this is where you have to go on the map to be able to leave the map and bring all the loot with you. If you don't make it to the extraction point in time, you lose everything, or if you die, you lose everything. So when we laid down, we saw that our extraction point was ZB1011. And if I bring up my Google map right here, it shows you that ZB101 is in the bottom right of the map. Super far away from where we are. We're over here near the river. So that means that we have to go through all of this territory to get to the guaranteed extraction point. And as a beginner, you're probably going to want to head towards that extraction point almost right away and just loot in that area. So now that we know where we are on the map and where we have to go to get out, it's time to look for loot. I decided to turn around here and go to this place that I was fairly familiar with and try to get some quick loot and then start heading towards the extraction point. I'm moving pretty fast here in the beginning, but as you guys are going to see here in a minute, this is why it's important to sometimes move slow and just listen to your surroundings. When I come up to this little area right here, I ended up hearing enemy footsteps very, very close to me, and you'll see what happens. I was able to come into the room and take him out, and he didn't even know it. He probably could have heard me when I was up front, or maybe before, but he obviously wasn't paying as much of attention as I was. Well, actually, I kind of got lucky when I stopped. I was able to hear those footsteps to the right. So as you guys saw, when he died, it doesn't tell you that you killed somebody. This is like a really hardcore game. When you kill someone, you have to look for them to drop. If they run away, there's a chance they might bleed out, but you're not going to know until you track down your kill. I got really lucky here, guys. I looted this guy, and just look at all the loot that he had. This is the biggest player loot that I've come across. Obviously, I'm still very new to the game and I haven't played many games, but I found so much good stuff, and the gun that he had was just amazing. It had a silencer and a scope, and I was in heaven. So that was an enemy player, guys. I could tell because he had dog tags in his inventory. And the enemy NPCs, they move a lot different. They don't loot things like that, etc. So this was definitely an enemy player, and it was pretty cool to get a kill like that right away in the start of the game. So after you get into a firefight, you're going to want to lay low for a minute because you made a lot of sound. The NPC players and enemy players will be coming towards your location. So as you can see here, I kind of laid low for a minute, thought about what I was going to do, and listened for sounds. So once I figured out that I was fairly safe, at least I thought I was safe, it was time to head out. Now, I got a lot of good loot from this guy. I love the gun that I got from him. It's a lot of good loot for my character. I haven't seen loot like this. I'm very new to the game, so this was awesome. My goal now was not to keep looting and killing people. My goal was to get the hell out, so I had to make it to that extraction point on the other side of the map. It's a long journey ahead here, and I was going to try to do it quick, but also stealthily. I'm really not trying to fight anybody. When you get good loot, you don't want to lose it, so it's time to extract, collect my experience, and bring my loot into my stash. Now, traversing the land on these maps can be difficult, not only because you're going to run into barbed wire, and you run risks of fracturing your leg if you fall from high places, but the map is designed to where there are some choke points when you're trying to get from one point to another. Now, you see the river here on the right. There's only, I think, 2 or 3 bridges to get across this river. I think there's actually only 2. So to get across towards where I need to be, guys, I have to go through this choke point, and I'm pretty nervous about doing it, so I'm really checking behind me and looking out for anybody looking at my direction. Once I felt it was safe enough to go across the choke, it was time. Instead of walking across it, I decided to sprint. The problem with sprinting is you have a stamina bar in the bottom left that you have to manage, and if you get caught in a fight without stamina, you're probably going to die. Also, running is very loud to enemy players and NPCs, so typically you're not going to sprint like very much at all. For the most part, you're going to be walking or crouch walking. There's a lot of different levels of speed that you can move your character at. You're going to find one that you're most comfortable with for exploring. Now, when you're going through bushes and trees, it's important not to brush up against the leaves if you don't have to, because enemy players can hear that as well. It's really hardcore in terms of survival. So we made it across the river, but we're coming up to a road here, and I know that there are NPCs sometimes spawning in this area, and of course there can always be enemy players. So I just stopped, and I was just listening to my surroundings and just creeping up nice and slow. Especially in this choke point area, it's important to really approach with caution. So we're going across the road right now. We took our time. I didn't hear any sounds. We're going to take cover behind this tank. Now, I know that there's an NPC sniper that hides up on a roof in this next area, so I'm really trying to look to make sure that he's not scoping me in at this point. Now I'm going to fast forward a little bit to get us further towards our checkpoint. So we started back over here on this side of the river, ended up getting loot from that player right here, came back across the river, and now we're all the way up here in this area where I know that there's a little stash, so we might as well grab some more loot. I ended up walking through some barbed wire, and I'll show you guys how you have to heal through that in a second. There's also a lot of shots going around, so I'm really trying to be careful because, like I said, guys, in the beginning, I got that awesome loot, and I do not want to lose it. So right here, guys, you can see there's a healing screen on the left. There's a bunch of different body parts that you have to heal individually. If you walk through barbed wire, typically your legs are going to get hurt. If you hit it with your head because you're close to a fence where it's above you, your head's going to get hurt, and you have to heal all of those areas accordingly. You can also fracture limbs and suffer from bleeding wounds, and there's usually ways to take care of all of these once you get in depth and learn the mechanics behind the game and what items do what. The journey continues, so I kept heading east, and I ended up coming across a gas station. I made it through a choke point earlier. It was pretty intense because I heard a lot of shots, but I made it through a choke point and ended up coming up to a gas station where I knew NPC players were. I couldn't find a safe way through, so I decided to turn around, go up and all the way up into the woods, and well, I still found enemies. I suffered some serious wounds, guys. As you can see, my head was lit up, my legs messed up. So I'm running backwards as fast as I can to try to find a little spot where I can heal up. And I ended up determining that my guy's too messed up. I need to get out right away. So I decided I'm going to start sprinting towards the destination and just hope for the best. Because if I get spotted and hit again, I'm most likely dead. So what the hell? I might as well make a sprint for it and we'll see what happens. So I ended up going back towards the gas station the way that I tried to avoid it first, and we're sprinting along the side right here, and I see an enemy in a guard tower and then an enemy go across the street. These are NPCs, I can tell by their movement, so it's time to lay down and make sure that they're not looking before we move on. Ended up standing up and starting to move again, and boom, we are getting shot at, so we are getting the hell out of there. One bullet's probably going to take us down, and we are gone into sprint mode. Everybody can probably hear us if anybody's near. We're just going to keep sprinting as long as our stamina bar will let us. Maybe regen it a little bit in between these oil tankers right here, and then back at it. We're getting much closer to ZB1001 extraction point. I'm starting to get hopeful as long as these enemies don't chase me too hard. My guy's gasping for air. He's dying by the minute. But we're getting really close to the extraction point right now. You can see it on the right side of the map. I'm about to make a dash for it. And then there's an NPC guardian. Luckily, it's an NPC and not a player, because I would probably be dead if it was a good player with skill. So we're going to come into the buildings right now and try to come around behind the extraction point. I'm pretty sure at this point I'm going to have to kill that NPC. So I'm going to end up taking it a little bit slower when we get up closer. This little bastard was sitting inside the door to the extraction stairwell. I'm so happy that I got the kill. I almost decided not to loot him because I wanted out that bad. I really made it this far. I wanted to get out safely. But at the end, I said, what the hell? I might as well grab some extra loot, what I can. And guys, we did it. It was a successful raid. So that's the gist of the game, guys, from a beginner's perspective. The first couple days, I didn't even really know how to do that. I didn't know where anything was, but as you put the time into it and learn the map and just get a basic understanding, you got to give this game a couple days, maybe even a week, maybe even a couple weeks, and you will start to catch on, and it becomes a really intense, hardcore survival looter shooter game. It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty unique. It's very in-depth. I'm really excited to keep playing this, and I'm happy that I spent the $45. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. I know this video was a little bit different than what I normally do, but I do comedy videos, game reviews, tutorials, as well as live streams on this channel. So there's probably something for you. So hit that sub button. I hope to see you guys on the next one.